We have Shivlu Jain from Cisco, who will be talking about segment routing for service provider. Shivlu has extensive experience in planning, designing, and maintaining large MPLS VPN and broadband networks. He also has expertise in leading, envisioning, and delivering technology-based growth initiatives. Shivlu is presently the technical solutions architect at Cisco. Shivlu, over to you.
Hey, thanks, Anil, for our introduction. Okay, let me share my screen.
Sure.
Okay, let me know if my screen is visible.
Yes, but if you can make it full screen.
Yeah, I'm just trying it. Yeah.
Looks good.
Thanks, Anil, for the short intro. So I will be skipping the first slide. I know I have a very small amount of a time and I have to cover the basic of a segment routing. So without telling about myself, I am coming to the agenda part. So these are the topics which we are going to cover in the next 20 minutes. So what are the current LDP and RSVP challenges? And I'm assuming everyone on a call has a basic understanding of service provider network and how it has been configured and how it has been run. And then a brief about our SR and what are the different data plane operations we do in the SR. And along with the data plane operations, so we have a new concept which is evolving from a 5G need perspective that is called network slicing, then data plane monitoring, and finally how the migration will happen from our traditional LDP based network to a SR based network. So these are the current challenges of the LDP and RSVP. Is like the first one is the multiple layer of protocols. When we say the multiple layer of protocols, it means like we have a LDP, we have a RSVP, then maybe we have a FRR on the top of it, and on the top of it, we have a BGP from the services perspective. So there are multiple protocol layers and every layer is dependent on another layer. And secondly, we don't have ECMP path utilization available as a basics of a LDP network, because when we have to utilize the ECMP, we have to create a multiple tunnels. So that is not an efficient way of doing it. Secondly, from a TI-LFA perspective, so there is a no native support in a LDP-based network or RSVP-based network, like where we can say my topology is 100% TI-LFA independent. And in the entire network, the states are there because when we configure the RSVP, so every router has to maintain the states, right? Which means extra overhead or a burden on router. And in the network, so we have unutilized paths which can be used to serve the premium or a delay sensitive traffic. But by default, like we can't use it, because for that, if we have to use it, we have to create a multiple tunnels, and manually or explicitly, we have to define that path, right? So that is not an efficient way of doing it. And these are the 5 high-level challenges which we see from a LDP and RSVP network perspective. And if you see, the solution to these problems is the segment routing. Segment routing is nothing but this is a source routing architecture that seeks right balance between the distributed intelligence and the centralized optimization. So in the case of a segment routing, the source selects its path, source encodes its path, source encodes the packet header. So which means the network doesn't have to maintain any kind of a state. So whatever the states or whatever the sits has to be configured, or whatever the path has to be configured, only it happen on the headend router. So this segment routing, like if we have to enable this segment routing, so the one thing is like we have to work on the control plane perspective. Control plane can be ISIS, OSPF, or BGP, or we can use SDN controller also. From the data plane perspective, we have two different type of data planes. One is a MPLS, which normally we call it as a segment labels, and another is a IPv6, and that is called SRv6. So in this PPT, I will be covering only MPLS-based data plane, not covering a SRv6 data plane. And from the path perspective, we have a dynamic path option and we have a explicit path options available. So segment routing. So what is segment routing? So segment routing is a flexible, scalable way of doing source routing. Here the source chooses a path and encodes it in the packet header as an ordered list of segments. And segments are identified for any type of instructions. Each segment is identified by a segment ID, and that segment ID is nothing but it's a 32-bit integer value. And the rest of the network, it only executes the encoded instructions. Just think from a perspective like you are going to an airport and you have a one tag, and that tag will remain the same whether you go from Delhi to Mumbai or you go from Delhi to Dubai, right? So the same way in the segment routing, my tag will always be a global. It is not going to change at all. And secondly, we have the segment. So that segment is nothing but this is an identifier, or it's a type of an instruction, and this is a 32-bit instruction. So from a forwarding plane perspective, so either we can use MPLS forwarding plane or IPv6 forwarding plane. But if you have an existing network, which is LDP based network, and you are already running MPLS, so I recommend to go with the MPLS based deployment, because this is very easy and you don't need to do any kind of a hardware upgradations. You can use the existing MPLS based stack by just upgrading your software. For the IPv6 stack, if you have to go with that, in that case, you might need to upgrade your hardware. It all depends on the dependency on the router, whether it is going to support that SRv6 data plane or not. From the label perspective, we have a different kind of a label. So let's start with the global segment. So global segments are nothing but these are global segments which are defined in a service provider network. So which means like any node in the domain understands this instruction, and domain knows if I have a global segment which is 100, so other nodes also knows where is 100. It's like a unique IP address kind of a concept you can think of, just to relate with that. And secondly, like we can define the sRGB block. This sRGB block is nothing but this is equivalent to your label space like we have in a LDP based network. So, but in a segment routing, we call it as a sRGB block. So you can define your sRGB block range, which has to be unique across the network. This is from the global perspective. Then we have another segment which is called local segment. So this is locally available on the router itself, and it has no global significance. So these local segments are normally, we call it like if you have a physical interface connected, we call it this a local segment. And if you have to identify a node, then we define the node as a global segment. This is how do we create a differentiation between a global segment as well as a local segment. So if we see in the IGP segment, so we have a two distributed IGP blocks. So one is called a prefix segment and another one is called the adjacency segment. Prefix segments, there sometimes they called it as a node segment also, which means like we can say if I have a one node which is a unique in the network, so I will say okay, so just give a node ID to that node. Maybe it's 100. This is a global node. And from the adjacency segment perspective, like for every interface or which is a directly connected interface, so those interfaces are normally defined as the adjacency segments, and these are local to a router only. So see how does the prefix segment work. So if you see here, like I have a one topology on the right hand side. This is a 5-node topology, and every node is having a one global SID, which is called let's say the 5, 2, 1, 3, and 4. So node 5 is having a one global SID which is 16005. The same way node 2 is having a global SID called 16002, and node 1 is having a global SID called 16001. So if I have to reach to node 5 and I'm sitting on a node 1 or a node 3, I will say I have to reach to node number 5 whose node SID ID is 16005. This node SID ID is directly mapped to my loopback address. So now you can see this loopback is also unique and this node SID is also unique. So it doesn't matter wherever I'm sitting in the network, I will reach to this network by having this node SID ID. So what is the advantage of having this node SID ID is that I can perform the load balancing on the network without creating any kind of a tunnels. I don't have to maintain any kind of a states in the network. So by default, this is being distributed as a part of IGP, and every node knows how to reach to the another node, and they can leverage a standard IGP-based load balancing to reach to the end nodes. So how do we define these node segments, or how do we define these labels? So we normally call it as a index value, which means if I have a node 1, I will say you are mapped to an index number 1, and this one is unique across network, and this one is not going to assign to any other node. Node 2 is having an index value of 2, and node 5 is having an indexed value of 5. So when we define this indexed value, so we also define a sRGB block, which we discussed in the previous slide. So what happens here? So by default, like we have a sRGB block starting range is 16K, and this node is having indexed value 1. So by default, IGP will say, okay, so your node ID will be 16001. The same way node 2 is having index value of 2, and the IGP will say, okay, your node state ID will become a 16002, and the same way other nodes will get defined. This is how does the IGP prefix segment value works. So if you see from the load balancing perspective, like on the first slide, where we have discussed like what are the challenges of my existing LDP and RSVP based network. So the SR, this is the advantage we are getting, like we don't have to do, or we don't have to enable any kind of a mechanism where load balancing has to be defined. So let's say if I'm sitting on a node number 1 and I have to reach to node number 4, I know if I have to reach to node number 4, so I have to create a packet with the SID value 16004. Now, if you see here on a node number 1, on packet 16004, that is my destination, this 4 is reachable via node number 2 also and node number 3 also, because I'm assuming like all my IGP links are of a same cost. So by default, when the packet will hit on the head end node, which is node number 1, and destination will be node number 4, automatically the traffic load balancing will happen. So this is the biggest advantage of using SR when we compare it with the LDP or RSVP based networks. So this is how does the IGP adjacency segment works. If you see here, like if I have to reach to node number 5 and I'm sitting on a node number 1, so by default, node number 2 will take a link which is directly connected to node number 5. But if I have to detour my traffic, instead of sending a traffic directly from node number 2 to node number 5, I can say, okay, you can use the adjacency SID, which is towards router number 4. So the traffic will get detoured towards the node number 4. So if you see here, how does it works? So I have a packet which will hit on a head end node number 1, and it has, sorry, so it has two label stack, one with 16004, which is my node SID value, and another is 24045, which is my adjacency value, right? So it means the first instruction will be reached to node number 4 with the node SID value 16004. The packet will hit to the router number 4, and see by default the load balancing will happen. And once the packet will hit to node number 5, it will say, okay, now you have to reach to node number 5, where it is going to leverage the adjacency SID value. So how, so you can understand like node SID and adjacency SID value used to steer the traffic in the IGP domain. But if we have to do the same stuff in our traditional LDP or RSVP domains, we have to create a explicitly RSVP tunnels. And for the backups, then we have to create a backup tunnels also, right? So this is how does the MPLS data plane work. So it's the same as we have in LDP based network. So we have a payload, and on the payload, we have a node SID value programmed in the packet header itself. So let's say if I have to reach to node number 4, the packet will hit to node number 2. It will say, okay, do the swap function, and my destination is 16004. And again, the router 2 is going to forward the packet to node number 3, where it will say, okay, the destination is 16004. But because of a PHP, it is going to remove that node SID packet 16004 and send the packet to node number 4. So from the MPLS data plane operation perspective, there is a no change. It's the same what you are using in your current LDP based network, and it will remain same in the case of SR based network also. So it means like the operation teams, they don't have to learn the operation efficiency or operation schemes which they are using from the last 10 years, right? So this is a easiest way to doing the troubleshooting in the network without having an impact on your existing operations. So now coming to the next part, which is a network slice. So network slice is nothing but this is a concept like which is coming from a 5G word, wherein we are saying like we have one network. Can I slice this network into the different planes, and every plane is giving or providing a different kind of functionality? Just think like we have a 9-node network. This network is having 3 different colors. So the one color is a black color, which is my underneath color. And I can say like, this is my default IGP color, which means like if any of the packet comes and the packet is not mapped to any priority or not mapped to any business traffic, so this packet is going to use all my 9 nodes. You can see here like a packet hits to node number 0 and the destination is node number 9. The packet is going to load balance across the network, across all the nodes and reach to node number 9. But now you are also defining like I have a one business customers and you have sold the services like you have to use the minimum IGP metric if you have to provide that services to a customer. So in that case, my underneath network will remain be the same, but I have another color which is called green color. So green color is nothing but this is depicting my minimum IGP metric is following this color. The red is not following under a minimum IGP metric. So the packet will hit to the node number 0, which is my head end, and it is going to, sorry?
I'll just interrupt you last 5 minutes, including Q&A.
Okay, sure. So you can see like the packet get load balance and hit to the destination. And the same way, like if you have a low latency services, so and you have an unutilized path, so you can use a red nodes or a red links, and the traffic will take to this path. This is how does the network slice works. And this is the biggest advantage of using SR is we cannot detect the black hole looping in the existing LDP based network. But if we are using a SR based network, we can leverage these kind of a new functionalities which can be used to detect the black hole from a data plane monitoring perspective. So real packets are injecting through each combination of neighbors and destination. And once something goes wrong, the router will tell, okay, so there is a data plane corruption in the network and it can send the probe or maybe it can send the syslog alert message also. In 2009, I have written this post in my blog. You can follow that also. At that time, like we were using LDP based network, we don't have a solution to these kind of problems. But I think after 11 years now, I'm happy to see like we have a good solution, like which can do the self type of a healing and see whether my LSP paths are working or not. And if there is anything goes wrong in the path, it immediately sends an alert. From the migration perspective, like how does it work? Like if you have a LDP based network, so on the right hand side, you can see like it's a pure LDP based domain. At the same time, you can configure a SR also in the network so that SR and LDP will run at the same time, but LDP will be preferred. Once you complete the SR configurations, after that you can add a one command which is called SR prefer, which means now SR and LDP both will be configured, but earlier LDP was preferred, now SR data plane will get preferred. So this way, like you can complete your migration without disturbing or interrupting your existing network, and the entire migration can be done by following only these 3 steps. You don't have to worry about it whether there will be an outage or you have to do some other stuff. Nothing is required. It's very easy. It's only a 2-line command. That's it. So maybe you can follow my blog. So I have written a lot of posts. How does the migration works? So this is the slide like where I try to capture all the things. I know like this is a very short time, but still from the terminology perspective, we have different kind of terminologies, which is called as a segment identifiers or assets. From the label perspective, we have a prefix set, adjacency set. There are more labels also like a binding set and a BGP prefix set, which is equivalent to BGP LU in a seamless MPLS domain. And from a SITE perspective, which I haven't covered in this presentation because of shortage of the time, but yes, it's the same kind of a functionality we have in RSVP domain, but it's far flexible from a RSVP protocol side because there is no statement in the packet, there is no tunnel interface configured in the network, and there is a no headend configuration. Everything is a seamless. And from the data plane, network slicing, and programmability perspective, like we can measure the end-to-end packet latency. We can separate the different type of a traffic based on the different SLAs. And from the simplification perspective, like where we started, like we have the different kind of a layers. So this is a legacy layer, like where we have a different type of IGP protocol layers. We have IGP, RSVPT, BGP, LU. Then from the services perspective, we have a BGP and LDP. Telemetry perspective, we have SNMP. Provisioning will be taken care by CLI. So I'm not going to touch the top layers, which is normally called management and orchestration layers or model-driven telemetry layers. But if you see from the native IGP perspective, so we are trying to collapse all the layers into single layer, which is my segment routing layer. And this segment routing is nothing but this is my native IGP layer. So it means like the moment we collapse these layers, my network will get simplified. And we will be having a better SLAs, better uptimes, and we don't have to manage the different type of trains to see like which service is available in which train, because by default we will work only on a one thing which is called IGP. Thanks a lot. I think in a short time, I just try to give you a primer about segment routing based networks. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me, or you can type in the chat box.
Shivlu, thank you for the presentation. Unfortunately, we are probably not doing well with time. If we take those questions, there are a lot of questions in the Q&A.
Oh.
What I would request you is, if possible, you can respond to those questions by typing answers.
Sure.
That would be, really helpful.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.